A warm welcome to one and all and a heartfelt namaste. Today we are going to talk about a beautiful topic on nakshatras. It's the Tarabalam. So far when we talk about nakshatras, we end up talking about the characteristics of the nakshatras, their qualities and how they impact the native. And we generally, though we know that the Vimshottari Dasha system is based on the nakshatras, we generally, when talking about nakshatras in particular, do not time events that easily. Well, Tarabalam is a beautiful concept in which we not only time events, we also describe as to how an event is going to unfold, what colors, what shades it's going to show up to us. So let's not waste time and move right ahead to Tarabalam. As I move ahead, I'd like to ask a question to all of you. What exactly is Tarabalam? Tara means the nakshatras or the stars, and the Balam means their strength. So the 27 nakshatras have a lot of strength. When these are aligned in a chronological order in a sequence of 9 nakshatra each, then they exhibit a certain amount of energies or relationship with each other, and that is known as Tarabalam. So let's see how it works out. The first in the sequence, be it your Lagna Nakshatra or be it your Janma Nakshatra, they both will have their own parts to play, because the Lagna is the place from which you do the things from which you are associated with this earth, and the moon is your mind. So how your mind plays things out and how things are happening to you in real life, we would, if we look very closely, we can see that there's a little bit of difference in there. Now let's see. The first nakshatra is called the Jan, the second the Sampat, the third Vipat, the fourth Shem, the fifth Pratyudi, the sixth Sadhana, the seventh Naidanya. Then we have the Mitra and the Atimitra. The Janma Nakshatra, when it comes back, people say you're not supposed to do things in your Janma Nakshatra when the moon is transiting over your Janma Nakshatra, because it may not fructify for you. Again, when you are talking about the two planets being in the same nakshatra, then during their periods, combined periods together, they might give you certain difficulties because the relation is 1-1. Now, when we go into the second Sampat, that is the second nakshatra from either your Lagna Nakshatra, your Janma Nakshatra, and Sampat means prosperity, property, wealth, auspiciousness, and Vipat, the third one, means misfortune, calamity. It also means sufferings and pains. Shema means a nakshatra that has the ability to carry on with all the comforts. It can provide you with a number of things. It is a nakshatra that gives you the providence for your sustenance. Pratyari is that nakshatra. Ari means the enemy, and that fifth nakshatra, be it from your Janma Nakshatra or your Lagna Nakshatra, as I repeat again, can, if a planet is situated there, can act as an enemy, can act as a one to inflict pain and suffering on you. Sadhana means penance, doing hard work to acquire skills and accomplishments, and so that you can move higher and get a name and fame for yourself. Of all the 9 that we see, the Naidana is the one which is the toughest, because Naidana means a nakshatra that could literally kill you, or it could give you a lot of punishments, it could give you a lot of problems in life, and it could cause extreme amount of sufferings. When you come to the Mitra, a Mitra is a close friend or a companion, spouse, blood relationships, and supporter or allies. The Atimitra is a spiritual bonding and crowning glory in material achievements. So a nakshatra which is 9 from your Janma Nakshatra, or a nakshatra which is say 18th or 27th from your Janma Nakshatra or your Moon Nakshatra, has the ability to bring you crowning glory or achievements. The serial is very straight: 1 to 9, 10 to 18, and 19 to 27. I do not mean from Ashwini to Revati. What I mean is that if you're born in Adra, from Adra to Chitra is one set, from Swati to Dhanishta is the other set, and finally from Satavihisha to again Mrigasira is the third set. That is the chronological order that we have to maintain. There's so much more on this, but that is all discussed in the class. We will move on directly to our chart that I'm talking on. My favorite is Mercury. Let's take up the Janma Nakshatra. So the Janma Nakshatra of Mercury is Purva Bhadrapada, the lord of which is Jupiter. The Lagna Nakshatra is Uttarashara, and the lord of this Uttarashara Nakshatra, when we go by the Vimshotri Dasha system, is the Sun. So especially Tarabalam can be used, especially, I repeat, for Vimshotri Dasha analysis. Just have a close look at the date that is given to you. The date that we are talking about lies between 1897 and 1914, specifically adding to the date of 1904, okay, between 1897 and 1904. Mercury doesn't really need a lot of introduction because she's the only woman, the first person to have 2 Nobel Prizes, and the only woman to attain that. Let's get on to the situation that I'm talking about for her. But for her discoveries, we would have been very, very poor in the field of medicine, in chemistry and physics, because radioactivity has changed, revolutionized all the 3 industries, be it the industry of medicine, be it carbon dating, be it chemistry, all of it has changed because of radioactivity. So now when we look at what Marie Curie had to give during that particular period, let's see what her dasha was. Her dasha was Mercury, her Antar dasha was Sun, and her Pratyantar was Saturn. So let us check this out. Mercury is placed in the nakshatra of Anuradha. It is the nakshatra of Saturn, okay, and it is the 20th nakshatra from that of the moon. When we add 20, 2 plus 0, we get 2. That is Sampat. That means prosperity and wealth on the way. Mercury is placed, again, when we're talking about the Janma Nakshatra, from the Janma Nakshatra, Mercury is placed in the 27th position. So this, when we add in, you get 6. 6 ends up being this skill sadhana nakshatra. So this is the time for accomplishments, this is the time for skill, and this is the time for getting, knowing, showing in front of the world what your accomplishments or your skills or your achievements have been. When we look at Mercury, Mercury is the 8th lord, Mercury is the 7th lord and the 10th lord of profession, and it is placed in the 12th house of discoveries. Again, when we're talking about Mercury, in the sense that placement of Sun from Mercury is that Sun is placed in the nakshatra of Vishakha, and it is placed 27th from Mercury. When it is placed 27th from Mercury, it is the Adi Mitra, Ati Mitra. That means it is the Param Mitra, and it is the best friend possible, one that would stand through you, by with you, no matter what, one that would be a spiritual guide to you. So this Sun was one of the most happening things for her. When we are going into the Pratyantar for her, we see that Saturn is also placed in the nakshatra of Vishakha. Now, one thing that one needs to remember is when 2 nakshatras, when 2 planets are placed in the same nakshatra, they are in fight with each other, and that may not be very conducive. So the Sun-Saturn combination in that particular nakshatra could have a lot to say for some troubles that she went through. Now, because the lord of the nakshatra, the Mahadasha lord, was beautiful, the Antardasha Lord was beautiful. So the Pratyantara Dasha Lord may have created certain issues, but would go a long way in helping these two out. Before I move forward, let us check out the um, characteristics of Mercury Nakshatra, that is Anuradha. Anuradha is represented, or the deity of Anuradha is the Lord called Mitra, the sun god called Mitra, and he, the Aditya Mitra, has an ability to bind people. It has an ability to cause a lot of friendships, to make organizations grow. It also has the ability to go into deep research while being affable, communicable to all. This nakshatra also has the temperament of not being affected by anything that is growing around you. So, because the symbol is lotus, so you still bloom and you still move with a beautiful sign or a beautiful smile like the lotus, even though it stays right there in the punk, or the uh, the the filth around it is there, it is not able to touch it. Now, sun is placed, and Saturn is placed in Vishakha nakshatra, and highly ambitious nakshatra ruled by two extremely ambitious gods or devatas, that is Indra and Agni. So this gives you or the person a lot of need to be showcasing and moving ahead of everybody in your field. Moreover, let's not forget the sun is the ninth lord, and ninth lord of bhagya, uh, of luck, of higher knowledge, placed in the 11th house of accomplishments, placed in the 11th house of recognition and reward. And Saturn is the third lord of unlocking your karma, placed right there in the 12th house of the divine providence. So, with so much said, Mercury is ruled by Mitra, giving you a platform in front of everybody where you can be congenial and nice. Sun and Saturn adding on to that ambition within you to go out and get your work done. And Mercury giving you enough space, because as the Lord of the 7th and the 10th house, to be recognized internationally, placed in 12th house as your work. And Mitra gives it willingly, makes you recognized and loved by many. So, but there is one thing that I told you earlier. What would that be? Because Sun and Saturn are in the same nakshatra. So, could there be a hit somewhere? Let's see how it works out. We see that in December 1903, the Royal Swedish Academy of Science awarded Marie Curie and Marie Curie the Nobel Prize in Physics. And that was because of the discovery of radioactive phenomenon, and they had carried on the further work of Professor Henry Berkeley. So at first the committee had just decided to honor Marie Curie, but and Henry Berkeley, but a committee member and an advocate for women scientists, Swedish mathematician Magnus Gosta, what she did was she alerted Marie Curie about it, and Marie Curie then stepped up and said that his wife being the one to help him. In fact, they had worked in tandem. She was equally responsible and equally eligible for that award. So she should also be given that award. So that small friction of a time which was spent to convince people that if she would not be awarded, he too would not accept that award. That small friction that happened, that could be because of the placement of two planets in the same nakshatra which were operating during that Dasha period. And so Marie Curie was name was added, and she becomes the first woman to be awarded a Nobel Prize. This way we can see what the event, how an event is going to unfold. We can see lot many other things. It's not just very only major incidences in life. small incidences in life and how they're going to unfold, what the Tarabalam holds for each one of them, how they relate to the Tarabalam, and how it will work out in our favor, hopefully. So much more. If you really want to learn it in deep and be able to pinpoint with precision the events happening in a person's life, the kind of events happening in a person's life, more importantly, please do join the course that is coming up this Sunday. If you've enjoyed the video, if you'd like to know more such details, please do about nakshatras, please do write in your preferences. Once we know about them, we'll surely go about working with them. Till we meet again, have a good time. Thank you.